Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, Yevamos Daf Lamed Zayin. We begin 12 lines from the top of the Amud. In yesterday's Daf we learned that between marriages there is a waiting period. Her husband passed away or she got divorced. They need to wait. A period of 3 months. What's the point of this wait period? To allow us to determine whether or not she is pregnant, in which case we can now identify whose child this is. So let's say she does not wait. She gets married right away. 7 months later, there's a child. There's going to be a suffix as to whose son he is. Is he a 7-month-old baby from the second husband, or perhaps a 9-month-old baby from the first? To prevent that situation, there is a 3-month wait period. Itmar, we learned, Kitsha b'tach shleisha. He did not heed this gzera. He went and he was mikadesh the isha within 3 months. But he didn't actually marry her. So typically, we require a divorce at this point. As we learned yesterday, you have to wait. Ubarach, but he ran off. He disappeared. Which indicates perhaps that he's not really planning on proceeding with the marriage at this moment. Do we still require a get or not? Pligi barab, achav, rafram, machlekes between these two. Chad Amar 1 says, Misham tinale. We apply a nida, we force him to divorce this isha. He acted inappropriately. He did a kedushin prematurely. V'chad Omar, the other one says, Iruke, his escape, mistaye, suffices for him. The fact that he took off indicates that he's not planning on marrying. And in this case, since we know he's not going to proceed to the next step for a while, you don't have to trouble him to give a get. Hava uvda. In fact, there was a story with a fellow who did this very thing, and he took off. V'amarlu, Rafram told them, don't worry, Iruke mistaye, his escape suffices. Safek men Teisha, get back to the Mishnah, where we have a child born in a case where they didn't wait. They didn't wait long enough to determine whether or not she was Mu'beres. So 7 months later, there's a child. This child is going to be called a Safek. Why? We're not sure whether he's a 9-month-old baby, a full-term baby from the first husband, or a premature baby, a 7-month baby from the second husband. So Mishnah says, in this case, they have to separate on account of the suffix, of the chance that this child is really from the first husband. Right? So Reuven passed away. They thought, without children, Shimon picked up the Yevamos. A couple of months later, there's a child. There's a suffix that perhaps this child identifies with the first husband, with Reuven, in which case she's not a Yevamos, and Yibum was out of place. They have to separate, but actually the child is fine. He's safe either way. Either I belong to Reuven or to Shimon, I'm okay. Amar le Rava le Rav Nachman. Rava asked Rav Nachman a shayla. Lema halech acha rov nashim. Why does the Mishnah say that there's a suffix here? We're not sure whether there was an avera committed, and therefore they bring an asham tali. We can actually determine that there was a chet done. This child is presumed to belong to the former husband, to Reuven. Why? That's standard procedure. Lema halech acharev nashim. Follow the majority of women. V'roiv nashim l'tisha yoldan. Typically, a woman carries full term. This child certainly belongs to Reuven, in which case she's not a Yevamos, because Reuven had a child before passing away or after passing away. So there's no Yibum needed. Shimon, by marrying her, committed an avera. They should bring a chatas. It's not a suffix, it's a vaday. Amalei. Rav Nachman responds, Nashid dan, the women by us, l'shiva yaldan. They give birth early. Amalei, he responds, Nashi detchu havaruba de alma. The women in your locale, in your family, determine these standards for everybody in the world. Typically, a woman carries full term. We can safely assume this child is a child of Reuven. Amalei, he responds, I meant like this. There's a whole equation at play. Roiv nashim yodan latisha. True, most women give birth at 9. Umiyat l'shiva. But certainly there is a minority, some who give birth prematurely. Standard procedure is that an Isha who gives birth, a typical Isha, a 9-month pregnancy, that pregnancy will be discernible as soon as she reaches a third way through the pregnancy, right? That's standard procedure. Vizu, and in this case, in this case, where Shimon went and married his brother Reuven's widow shortly after Reuven's death. In this case, they did not discern pregnancy. Within 3 months after Reuven's passing. Right? So in this case, she did not follow standard procedure. Rashi says, if they would have noticed Ibur, of course it would have been attributed to Reuven. Problem is they didn't see anything. So she already deviated from the norm, right? She didn't follow standard practice, standard procedure. In which case, Israel Ruba. We can no longer attribute her to Roiv Nashim. We said Roiv Nashim give birth full term, but she's not part of the Roiv. She has her own way of doing things. So in this case, Roiv is no longer a Roiv factor at play, and you have a balanced suffix. Is this a 9-month baby attributed to the first husband, or a 7-month attributed to Shimon? This is based on the concept of Kol HaYiledes. Every Isha who gives birth, her pregnancy is discernible at a certain point, a third way through the pregnancy. Says the Gemara, Ikol HaYiledes Atisha, Ubra Nikar L'Shlisha Mea. If that is a bona fide fact, you always notice that pregnancy within a third of the way through. In this case, it didn't happen. So let's say Shimon married 2 months after Reuven's passing. A month later, nothing was noticeable. Theoretically, if she was pregnant from Reuven, you should have seen something a month later, which is a total of 3 months after Reuven's death. In this case, since you didn't see anything, a third of the way through from theoretical Reuven's fathering of the baby, if he didn't see anything, then Ubra Vade Bar Shiva Lebrasrahu. In this case, you have no choice but to conclude that this baby belongs to the second husband. So then, what's the problem? She was a real Yevamos. There's no need to bring even an Asham Tali. Instead of making it an absolute bona fide fact that the Ibur is always discernible a third of the way through, most of the time. In this case, since you didn't notice anything a third of the way through, Israel Ruba. So that questions, it casts a doubt on the notion of considering her part of the Roiv Nashim who always give birth after full term. Meaning, what was the kasha? Baby was born 7 months into the second marriage. Of course, Reuven, the former husband, is his father, because who gives birth after 7 months? Roiv Nashim carry full term. Yeah, but Roiv Nashim, their pregnancy is discernible a third of the way through. Right? So you sort of have a Roiv against the Roiv. In this case, you didn't see anything, so it shakes up it makes the Roiv shaky. It casts doubt on the fact that on your presumption that she's a 9-month woman, and it generates this sad, this strong chance, this strong chashash that indeed she deviated. This is not the norm. And perhaps she did not carry full term as normally women do. Perhaps this is a 7-month baby from the second husband. So that explains the Mishnah. Why it's considered a suffix, and they have to bring an Asham Tanur Rabbanan. Rishain Roylis Kain Gadol. Now this, let's call him the suffix. This child who was born after 7 months into the second marriage, he's okay, he's safe. He can even be a Kain Gadol. Why? Either I'm a son of Reuven or a son of Shimon. You're in trouble for getting involved in this suffix aver, marrying each other too early, but I'm either his or his. V'sheni mamzer misafik. The next child is a suffix mamzer, because perhaps Yibum was not necessary, and Shimon actually married his Eisha Sa'ach and Erva. So that child is a suffix mamzer. Rabbi Yehuda ben Yaakov Omer ain't mamzer misafik. He's not a mamzer misafik. My comment, what do you mean to say? Of course he's a mamzer misafik. Omar Abaye Chikam, he meant like this. Risha Royli is Kain Gadol. Tanakama says, first child is perfectly fine. You could even become a Kain Gadol. V'sheni suffix mamzer. The second child is a suffix mamzer. V'aser b'mamzeres. This second child, who is certainly an offspring of the second marriage, no question about that. A marriage which is questionable. So he's a suffix mamzer. But he can't marry mamzeres. Only a vade mamzer can marry mamzeres, but if he's a suffix, there's always a chance that he's not a mamzer, and an ordinary Yisrael may not marry a mamzer. That's Tanakama. Rabbi Lezer, and there's a sheet of Lezer and Yaakov Eimer, that's a Gerus of the Bach. Any suffix mamzer, ela vade mamzer. We don't treat him as a suffix. You don't have to reckon with that other tzad that perhaps he's a Yisrael. No, we treat him like a vade mamzer, umutim mamzeres, with respect to allowing him to marry a mamzeres. Which means that only a Vadi Yisrael cannot marry a mamzeres, but a suffix mamzer, we sort of treat him like a mamzer. He's lacking in determinable yichas. He doesn't have that proper lineage, a proper yichas, and therefore he can marry a mamzeres. So according to Abaye, Rabbi Yehuda ben Yaakov is actually mekel. He allows the suffix mamzer to marry mamzeres. Rava Amar, he goes the other way around. He wants to conclude that Rabbi Yehuda ben Yaakov does not allow a suffix mamzer to marry mamzeres. Hachika Amar, the Brisa means like this: Rishon Roylis Kain Gadol. First child can be a Kain Gadol. V'sheni mamzer vadai misafik. Child number 2 is really a suffix mamzer, but we treat him with respect to marriage like a vadai mamzer. There's no difference because his yichas is questionable. Umutib mamzeres, he can marry a mamzeres. Rabbi Yehuda ben Yaakov Eimer, no. Ein vadai mamzer misafik. You don't treat him like a vadai mamzer just because he's a suffix. Ela suffix mamzer. V'asr mamzeres, we treat him like a suffix who cannot marry a mamzeres. Maybe you're not a mamzer. Oh, what's the point of machlekes between Abaye and Rava? V'kal miflagi, but the Rabbi Lezer. The question revolves around Shitas Rabbi Lezer, the Snan. Rabbi Lezer Eimer, Vadon mutter. If it's a vadai mamzer, can marry an isha who's a vadai mamzeres. But if there's any suffix, you can never take a chance. Vadon besveikan, usveikan bevadon, besveikan besveikan. Also, if the man is a suffix, the isha is a vadai, the isha is a suffix, the man is a vadai, they're both suffix, they can't intermarry because maybe he's a kasher and she's a mamzer, and vice versa. Veiloin sveikan. What are examples of individuals with sveikos? We have the shtuki, vasufi, vikuti, all these fellows found in the street, etc., where there's a suffix. Perhaps they're a mamzer. They're treated like a suffix, and according to Rabbi Lezer, there's always a chance that they're proper Yisraelim and therefore cannot marry a mamzeres. V'amar v'damar Rav, halach Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Yehuda quotes his Rebbe Rav. We follow Rabbi Lezer or Machmer. But then Rabbi Yehuda went to learn by Shmuel, and he related Rav's shita to Shmuel. Kamrisa kamed to Shmuel. When I passed it on to Shmuel, Amarli, he says, no. Hillel Shana Asura Yechson Al Mebavel. Hillel presented us with the halacha, the last parak in Kedushin, listing the 10 degrees of lineage, 10 levels of yichus. Starting from the top, you have the Kehanim, right? The Kehani, Levi, Yisraeli, Chaloli, Yisrael, who becomes disqualified from Kahuna, Geri, the converts, Charuri, the Avodim who are released, Mamzeri, Nisini, that's the Givoinim that arrived in the time of Yeshua, who may not marry into Klal Yisrael, Shetuki Vasufi, these children with questionable origin. So we have 10 levels in Klal Yisrael. V'chulon mutaron lo and they can intermarry. Rashi explains it means like this. We have different categories. Mashal the Kehanim, Levi, and Israel can intermarry, no problem. Levi and the Israel and the Chalal and the Ger and the Charuri, mutar zeh. And then the last category is the Gerim, the Eved Meshuchro, the Mamzerim, the Nesinim, the Shtuki, Vasufi. They can intermarry, and this is based on the concept of that a Mamzer may not marry a regular Yisrael, but all these questionable individuals with questionable yichus can intermarry. Which means that a Mamzer Vadai can marry a Shetuki. Right? Rashi says, he calls out, father, mother, they keep him quiet, meaning there's all kinds of questions regarding his origin. So he's a Suffolk Mamzer. He's allowed to marry a Mamzeres. And again, the reason is because even a Suffolk is lacking in his yichus. So who's speaking? This is Shmuel speaking, in the name of Hillel. He's telling Rabbi Yehuda, you're telling me, we follow Rabbi Lezer, that we're not allowed to marry a Suffolk to a Vadai? So according to Shmuel, it's mutter. And according to Rav, it's asr. Getting back to Abaye v'Rava, Abaye Savalak is Shmuel. The Omar Lachke Hillel. Abaye follows Shmuel that a Suffolk Mamzer can interact with a Vadai Mamzer. Mukila, Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov Ali b'deilchasa. So back to that brisa, we had Tanakama, Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov discussing this very point. He steered the brisa in this direction to get to the point that Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov will allow a Suffolk Mamzer to marry a Vadai Mamzer, because generally we follow. Halacha follows Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov. Ki heichi, deloi tikshi hilchasa hilchasa. This way, we're going to avoid a clash between the fact that we always adopt Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov lahalacha and Shmuel, who tells us halacha ki Hillel. So in order to line them up, he learned the brisa in this fashion, that Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov's point is that a Suffolk Mamzer may marry a Vadai Mamzer, as opposed to Rava, Savalak Rav, here like Rav, that it's also Damar Lach Rabbi Lezer, that it's Asr, and therefore he steered the brisa in his direction. Umukila, Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, aliba deilchasa. So he interpreted the brisa differently. According to his interpretation, Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov is the Machmer, that all the halachas should be in line with each other. I'm going to prove my point that comes to Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov. According to Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, a Suffolk Mamzer is treated like a Vadai and he can intermarry with a Vadai Mamzeres. How do I know that? The Sanya. We have a brisa quoting Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov himself. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, Harei Shabal Nashim Harbi. This fellow interacted, has married to many women. He's not sure what happened there. He doesn't know, what happened to the offspring there. Likewise, an Isha who interacted with many men. She's not sure who to relate the offspring to. You're running into big trouble. You can have a situation where a father will actually marry his daughter, unaware that she's his daughter. A brother marrying a sister. And this fills the world with mamzerim. The pasuk says, "Umala haaretz zima." World is filled with zima. We see that Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov is relating to a Suffolk mamzer like a mamzer vadai. This is not a vadai mamzer. All kinds of uncertainties and sveikas, right? And he's referring to it as kulei mamzer. Apparently, even a Suffolk Mamzer is regarded to a certain extent like a Vadai Mamzer, with respect to allowing him to marry Mamzeres. This is Abaye speaking. The Rava who said that according to Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, a Suffolk Mamzer is not treated with respect to marriage like a vade mamzer. Amalach, he explains like this. Hachika Amar, in this brayser, Blazer says like this, Zoi Maihi. When he said a Mala Arts Zima, he meant Zima is like a joint word. Zu, Mahi. Well, what is she? Meaning it's a lashon of suffix. This type of inappropriate behavior, irresponsible lifestyle creates all kinds of uncertainties and doubts. All kinds of suffix mamzer, but they're not a vade mamzer. Continues the Gemara. Yasser al-Kain Omar Blazer ben Yaakov. Furthermore, said the Blazer ben Yaakov, even if it's in a context of marriage, be careful. Leisa Adam Isha b'Medina Zu, a person should not marry Rachel in this city, v'yelech v'isa Isha b'Medina Acheres, and go to the next town and marry Leah in the other city. Perhaps the offspring will end up being matched up with each other, and unbeknownst to them, they're brother and sister. You'll have a brother marrying a sister. Is that a concern? Rav used to come visit the town of Dardashir. Machras, he would announce, Va'omar, and say like this, Man havya liyam. Is there anybody that's willing to spend the day with me? Willing to marry me for the day while I'm here? He didn't want to be there without a wife. Anybody that's a willing candidate? The same with Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman ki'ikla, when he visited L'Shachnatziv, that town, Machras v'Amar, Man havya liyama. Who's going to marry you for the day? Apparently there's no concern with marrying in different locations. Answers the Gemara, here it's different. Shani Rabbanon de Pkia Shimayu. When it comes to the children of the Chachamim, it's world famous. Oh, she's Rav Nachman's child. He's Rav's child. It's something which is mefursum, something which becomes publicized, in which case there's no concern about his own son marrying his daughter. Now the Gemara is going to ask another kash on this incident with Rava and Rav Nachman. How does this work? He comes to town and gets married on the spot. That's not mutter. Rava tells us, if marriage was proposed to an isha and she acquiesced, he has to wait 7 clean days. Rashi says perhaps the heightened excitement and anticipation of the upcoming marriage generated a dam in the isha, had this hormonal effect which made her tummy. She has to wait 7 days. So you can't just marry instantaneously. So how do they do it? These Rabbanon, shluchayu havu meshadri. They give advance notice. They send some shluchim over there, and they would inform them. They would announce in advance, get them ready, and then it wasn't an issue. Everybody say another pshat. They didn't actually live with them as married. L'Rabbanon yichudi ba'alma hu d'miyachtilu. They were just misyached with them. And that somehow satisfies the person to a certain extent. And since they informed them to begin with, they informed the notion that this is all they needed to do, it did not generate this excitement, which would perhaps generate tumah. And even this would be enough for the Chachamim. The Amar Mars, we learned, you can't compare. Mishi Eshle Pas Basalo, a fellow who has bread in his basket, his food is accessible to him. Lemisha Ainle Pas Basalo, rather, in contrast to a person who has no bread in his basket. So even though he's not actually eating, but if it's accessible, that has a calming effect. Here as well, the yichud itself would have that calming effect. Tana or Blazer ben Yaakov Omer, here comes another halacha, in the name of the same man, the Omer. Lo yisa adam es ishtay v'data legarsha. It's totally inappropriate for a person to marry with the intent to divorce her. Shem shenemar, the pasuk says, al tachrosh, al rayecha ra, do not scheme against your friend. V'hu yoshel letach itchan, he's sitting calmly, securely with you. You're betraying his trust. Likewise, when it comes to marriage, a person has to be honest and a man of integrity and earn his wife's trust. Continues the Gemara. So we have this fellow who remarried. He took his brother's wife. Right? Too close to the event. He didn't wait enough time. We have a child born down the road, unsure whether he belongs to Reuven or to Shimon. He's called the Suffolk. Let's give them names. We have Reuven passed away. Shimon is the Yavam. And Levi was born down the road. Levi is a suffix. Do I belong to Reuben or to Shimon? Now it's a question of inheritance. Who's going to acquire the properties in question? We know that the Yavam typically takes over Reuven's properties. He's Yerush Reuven. That's if Reuven passes away without children. In this case, we don't know. That's what happened. This fellow, this Levi fellow, Suffolk, is yelling. He says, "What do you mean? I'm Reuven's child. I got the building, not you." Suffolk v'Yavam. So we have the Suffolk Levi and the Yavam Shimon. Shabo lachleik b'nichsei misna. They're trying to figure out what to do with the nechasim of the mace of Reuven. What's the argument? Suffolk Amar. The Suffolk says, "Look, Ano bar misnahu. I am Reuven's child. The building belongs to me." The Yavam Amar, Shimon says, "No, it's the opposite. At broi didiyat. Get out of the way. You're my son. V'leslach v'leimidi b'nichasai. Leave my nechasim alone. While I'm alive, leave it alone. You get it later. In the meantime, it's mine." What do we do? 50-50. Nobody can prove his point. Have a maman amuto b'safek. So this property is in a state of uncertainty. Right? There are two equal claims against the property. Maman amuto b'safek cholken. What's the halacha? 50-50. Okay, so this is an easy, straightforward case. The suffix with the yavam, 50-50. What about suffix ubnei yavam? So what happened was, Reuven passed away. Shimon married too early. And then he passed away, leaving behind some other children. He's got Yehuda, he's got Yisachar, he's got Zvulun, he's got Dan. He's got 4 other children. And the question is, what happens to Reuven's building? So Shimon never actually took possession of the building. He didn't get a chance to fight around with the suffix. He passed away on the spot. So now it's between Mr. Suffolk and Shimon's other children. Suffolk ubnei yavam, shabo lachlik, b'nichsei misna. They're trying to lay claim on the nechasim of Reuven, the mace. Suffolk Amar, the child, is saying, "Look, it's all mine." Ho gavra, this man, referring to himself, bar misnahu, I'm Reuven's child. V'nichsei didu, building is mine. B'nei yavam amri. Well, the other children of Shimon, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zvulun, Dan, they claim, "At achinuat, brother, you are a brother." Umansa hu de islan ba'adon, you take a part. Now, father's property, gesundheit, take 20%. You 1 out of 5 children. Now, here it's interesting. Here, nobody can really prove that point, but who has an advantage in the Beis Din? If you think about it, really Levi has an advantage. His claim is somewhat superior to the other brothers, to the other children of Shimon. You know why? Because either way he gets a part. Either I'm Reuven's son, I get the whole thing, or I join you in dividing our father's property. If I'm Reuven's son, I get everything. If I'm Shimon's son, I get 20%. So he has a schus in this property either way. They're 50, they're not sure. Could be he's right. He's Reuven's child. It's all his, nothing theirs. According to that, they get 0. Or he's Shimon's child, they're all brothers, they all get 20% each. So by them, it's either a part or nothing. By him, it's either the whole thing or 20%. So he has a mala, he has an advantage over them. That's what the Gemara figured at this point. Savar Rabbanon. Kamei Rav Meshar Shir Lameir. The Chacham sitting in front of Meshar, they figured he wins because he has a solid claim on this property either way. It's just a question of how much. And therefore, Masnisenhi. This concept is reflected in the Mishnah, where it would seem that he gets the rights to the property, the Snan. Who any Yerush Oisam. The Mishnah was speaking about a different case where you have 2 fellows. You have Reuven and Shimon, not brothers, unrelated. And Reuven had passed away, and Shimon married Reuven's widow, too close to the passing. Didn't allow for that 3-month separation period. A child was born down the road. He's a suffix. Am I Reuven's child or Shimon's child? Do I belong to Reuven's family or Shimon's family? So what happens there? Who eina yorish oisam, vehem yorishin oisai. which means that he can't lay claim to their properties. He doesn't know which family he belongs to, but they, on the other hand, can split his property. Right? Well, let's say Reuben passed away or Shimon passed away. This suffix is tossed around. He's in no man's land. He's in limbo. I don't know if I belong to this family or that family. I get nothing. But when he passes away, they can actually make an agreement amongst themselves. Both families will split his property. So that's the case in the Mishnah there. Unrelated to our Shiloh. We're not dealing with a Yibum situation. Just a kid tossed between two families. Right? So they have a stronger claim than him. He can't take from anybody. He doesn't know where he belongs to, but they can ultimately split his nechasim amongst themselves. In our case, it's pretty much in the reverse. Meaning, Hasam Amrle Aisi Rai V'Shakal. In that case, both families turn to him and says, look, you can't lay claim to any of our properties. Prove which family you belong to. Until you do that, you're shut out. Hacha Amrlu Aisi Rai Ushkoilu. Likewise over here. Getting back to our sugya of the Suffolk and the Yibum. So again, we're speaking where Reuben passed away. Shimon picked up the wife too early. Child was born. We're not sure who fathered him. Is he Reuben's child or Shimon's child? And Shimon actually passed away as well. Now we have Shimon's other children battling this fellow with respect to Reuben's properties. Right? So this Suffolk fellow, this Levi fellow, is saying, look, I'm Reuben's son, I get the whole property. Or, I'm your brother, right? Your fellow brother, Shimon's children, and I get at least 20%, we split it equally. And they're saying, well, maybe you're our brother, so you only get 20%. Right? So in this case, it would seem that he has a stronger claim. He certainly gets 20%. At the worst case, he gets 20%. So his claim is stronger than them. It's either 100% if I'm Reuven's son, or it's 20% if I'm Shimon's son. But at least 20% I certainly get. So I have a vadai claim on this property. So you would think that his claim is superior to theirs. And what happens? It would seem from Rashi, at this point the Gemara figures, he gets the entire property. Because it gives him that muchzakas, that foothold. He gets extra rights. His claim is more solid than theirs. Hamalur of Mesharshia. So this was presented to the Rebbe of Mesharshia. This connection between our case and the Mishnah with the child tossed between two families. He says you can't compare. You know why? Me dummy. How do you compare the two things? Hasam, in that case, inu vadai v'ihu safek. Right? So you have two families. No, nothing to do with Hebrew. Two families. This child is stuck in the middle. Does he belong to here or to there? They are a vadai. He's a safek, which means that they know where they belong. They can identify themselves. This family knows they belong to that family, and likewise the other family. He doesn't know where he's coming from. Hacha idi v'idi safek, as opposed to our case. Even this fellow Levi, who we call the safek, he doesn't know what's going on. Could be I'm Reuven's son, I get 100%. Could be I'm Shimon's son, I get with you together. It's not a tanis vadai, Rashi says. Sure, either way I get something. But I'll tell you the truth, I don't know why. He can't pinpoint the reason why his claim is substantiated. He doesn't know what happened. He's not aware of the actual events. He knows that it's either 100% or 20%. So since he can't really substantiate the reason for his claim, could be it's a svar in Yerusha. Yerusha is not just a monetary claim. I'm inheriting that fellow. He can't point to anybody and say, look, I am inheriting that fellow. I'm not sure what's going on. It could be I'm inheriting Reuven, could be Shimon. So his claim is no better than theirs. And what happens? That's interesting, Shiloh. What happens now? So Rashi says, V'nira be'enai. This is a chiddush of Rashi. In this case, he certainly gets 20%. That's uncontested. Even they agree that he splits with them. So 5 brothers, each one gets 20%. And regarding the rest, the remaining 80%, right, he had claimed that everything belongs to him because he's Reuven's son and this is Reuven's property. And they're saying, no, maybe you're not. So he split the remaining 80%. So he ends up getting 60%. Right? So you start with 100. They're saying, look, we're 5 brothers, 20% each. So they're willing to give him 20%. That's uncontested. So he grabs that 20 and walks away. What about the rest? So he has a full claim. He says, look, could be I'm Reuven's son. I get everything. Could be I'm not. I have to split with you. So you do a yachleiku. Since nobody can substantiate their claim, they have an equal schus. And the remaining 80%, he gets half of that, and they get half of that, so he ends up with 60%. That's Rashi's Pshat in the Gemara. Says the Gemara, El idami l'masnisin. Once we're on the topic of that Mishnah with that child stuck between 2 families, in a non-Yibum situation, right? Just a standard case. You have 2 families. You have a child born in close proximity to the first marriage. You don't know where he belongs. Mishnah says they can just shoo him away. He has no claim on their nechasim, but they can actually take his nechasim upon his passing. L'hadami, it's comparable to the following Yibum related case. L'safek ubnei yavam. Oh, here's a third case. You have the Safek, this fellow, the Levi fellow, who was born 7 months into the second marriage, into this supposed Yibum. Right? Now we're not sure whether Yibum wasn't needed at all, whether he's really Reuven's child, or in fact Shimon's child. Ubnei Yavam. Shimon passed away. So now Levi is dealing with Shimon's other children, his remaining 4 children. Shabo lachsik b'nichse Yavam gufei. Oh, here they're discussing Shimon's properties. In this case, he has nothing to say. He has no say in the matter. The Hasam Amrli, in that case, they tell him, look, prove that you're part of our family. I see Raya to Shkoil. Prove that you're our brother. And then you'll take. Until then, there's nothing to talk about. Right? Because in this case, they know that they are Shimon's children. He has no idea. Could be he is. Could be he is not. So he has no right to detract from their portions. He's a Safek Neravade. And they win. Oh, so this is like that Mishnah we mentioned. When it's a Safek against the Vade wins. Here comes case number 4 regarding the Yibum. So again, Reuven passed away. We thought he had no children. Shimon did Yibum a bit too early. 7 months later, we have a child born. He's the Safek. Safek ubnei Yavam. So now the Safek is contesting the Bnei Yavam, Shimon's children, after Shimon's passing, with respect to which property? Shabo lachleg b'nichse Yavam. Lebasar de Polag Yavam b'nichse Misna. What happened was, Reuven passed away, right? He left behind some property. Now Shimon lays claim to that property. Look, I'm the Yavam. The Safek, this child, says, look, what business do you have taking my father's property? I'm Reuven's child. So this is actually the first case we discussed. Levi says, look, it's all mine. Shimon says, it's all mine. We split it down the middle. And that happened. They made that arrangement. Afterwards, Shimon passes away. And he has a family full of children. And now, Mr. Safek comes back and recontests, wants to open up the case again, wants to appeal the arrangement. He says, look, I know I split 50-50 with Shimon, but I want to redo it. Because maybe I'm really part of your family. I'm Shimon's child. And he happens to know that Shimon is a wealthy fellow, lots of properties. I want to give up that 50% I got in my father's bungalow. Doesn't interest me. I want to give it back and let me split with you in your father's inheritance, your father's property. Can you do that? So again, the words Safek this Suffolk fellow, Levi, Ubnei Yavam, and Shimon's children, Shabo Lachleg, Benichse Yavam, they're coming to do Chalukah. Idin Nechasim of Shimon, Labasa the Palag Yavam, after the Yavam, Shimon already split with Levi, Benichse Misna, the Nechasim of Reuven. He thought it was a done deal. They made an arrangement, and suddenly he's back in court. Bnei Yavam Amri, Shimon's children are saying, look, I Siraya, Dachuna Atushko, prove that you're our brother, and you'll take your portion. Amr Lahu, Suffolk, listen to this fellow. He's a lamdan, he's a good lawyer. He says, look, you know why I'm coming back again? Mon of Sheichu, meaning where are you coming from? I'll prove you wrong. Your claim is unsubstantiated. Why? Listen to this. If I'm really your brother, if I too am a Shimon's son, allow me to have an equal portion with you in Shimon's properties. Okay. But if I'm Reuven's child, palga, give me back the other half. The palga that your father took from me. Right? I split with your father 50-50. That was based on the notion that I'm Reuven's child. So I got 50%. Right? I claimed 100%. He claimed 100%. So we split it down the middle. So my Manushach, I should get more. If I'm Reuven's child, give me back the whole thing. Because Shimon's portion in that building was unjustified. It was mine. If you don't believe me that I'm Reuven's child, I'm Shimon's child, I'm your brother. Let's split our father's inheritance equally. Rav Abba Amar, Rav Kamdina. Rav says, look, too late. You can't appeal. Once the arrangement was made, once Levi and Shimon settled, it's over. It's over. Rabbi Yirmiyah Amar Hadar Dina. No, you can reactivate, you can revive the litigation process, and you have to go ahead and rearrange things. Perhaps this shaila is related to the machlokes between Admon and the Rabbanon. Whether you say done, or you say, look, let's revisit it. It's not. This property owner, who was surrounded by other properties, left town for a while. Comes back. He can't figure out how to get back into his field. He's surrounded by other landowners. He can't remember where his path was. He had a path. He doesn't know where. And now, what happened was, the fields around his are owned by various owners. Right? So he has no idea who to approach. Adman Amar. Adman says, take the shortest path. It's going to cost him 100 mana. Or take a helicopter. We had a shaila, the Rabbanon. How could Rabbanon say that he has to actually purchase the land, the pathway? Shaper Kama Adman. Whose approach seems to be more logical and correct? Adman, look, he had a zechus. Why should he lose it? You know what we're speaking about? 4 people, right? On all 4 sides of this fellow's field, there are fields belonging to different people. Who's going to approach? He has no idea where his path is. So what does Admin mean that he can claim his path? From whom? Which one of these 4? It's a very unique case. Look, if there are 4 people who purchase their fields from 4 sellers, or if all 4 landowners surrounding him purchase their fields from 1 seller, all agree in this case, there's nothing he can do. You go to Reuven, he sends it to Shimon, on to Levi, on to Yehuda. You can't nail anybody down. What is the discussion? It pertains to a very unique case. You have 4 sellers, but those sellers sold to 1 buyer. So now we have 1 landowner surrounding the middle fellow. Adman Savar. So Adman says, look, Matzi Amalei, the middle guy who's surrounded can approach the fellow on the outside and say, look, in any case, I can't necessarily pinpoint where my pathway was, but it's somewhere in your property. Hand it back to me. Allow me the use of your property. For Rabbanan say, look, you can't do that. The Amrle, because they can tell him like this. The Amrle, because this fellow tells him, have some good advice to you. Ishaskas, if you'll remain silent and lay down your claim and just be a good boy and buy the pathway, Shaskas, remain silent. Basically, I'm giving you advice. If you want a good deal, don't make trouble. But otherwise, I'll go back to my seller, give back all the documents, nullify the sales. In that case, you'll be stuck. Against whom are you going to lay your claim? 4 sellers. So better just cooperate. I'll give you a good deal on the path, give it to you for a good price, and let's leave it alone. Okay, so that's the discussion in the Mishnah there. How does it relate to our Gemara? Lema, perhaps we can propose as follows. Rabbi Abu says, Kam dina. Once the arrangement was made, once the din was established, it remains as such. He follows the Rabbanan there. Although this fellow originally had a pathway, had access to his field, but since he forgot its location, and he had 4 landowners, he could not approach either one. Right? This was before they sold it to this single fellow. Originally it was owned by 4 people. At that point he has no tiny, he has no schus, he has no claim. Right? So at that point he lost his rights. So although later on it was sold to one person, and now he can actually back him against the wall and says, look, it's somewhere in your property. Once he lost his claim, it's over. That's like Kam Dina. We don't revive it. We don't revisit it. On the other hand, Rabbi Yirmiyah says you could revisit the situation. It's like Admon, that although initially this middle landowner lost his rights because he was surrounded by 4 separate landlords, but later on, when it was sold to one person, you can approach him and say, look, I know I have a pathway somewhere in your property. So you can revive and revisit the case. Is that so? Are the 2 things related? Amalach Rabbi Abba says more, not necessarily. Rabbi Abba will say, I know Adman. I can follow even Adman. There's a big difference. Adkan like Adman Hasam. It's only in that case the Adman teaches that he has a claim. You know why he has a claim? Because he can say, look, what are you coming from? I have a pathway somewhere in your property. I have access to my property somewhere amongst your fields. Rashi says it's a Tamas Bari. It's a Vadai claim. But in our story with the Suffolk, with the brothers, he has no idea. He has no idea where he's coming from. So the Suffolk approaches Shimon, the Yevamos children, and says, look, I know I split the Reuven's property with your father, 50-50, but now I'm coming back again and saying, look, if I'm Reuven's son, give me the whole thing. If I'm Shimon's son, I want to take a chelik, get an equal portion throughout all his properties, right? But he has no idea which one's the real substantiated taina. So they turn to him and they say, look, maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. You have to prove your point. You claim to be Reuven's child, prove it. Shimon's child, prove it. It's a very different situation. And therefore, we don't give him any extra rights. Rabbi Yirmiyah then will tell you, another Amri Afil Rabbanan. Typically, you can revisit the situation even after settlement. And there's no steer between my din and the Rabbanan, but the pathway. Ad kan like Am Rabbanan Hasam. It's only over there the Rabbanan say he has to lay down his claim. Elamashum de Amrle, because the buyer of the properties tells him, look, shatkas. Like we said before, look, I recommend you keeping quiet. I advise that you cooperate, otherwise I'll undo the sale. If I give it back to the four sellers, you'll really be stuck. So in that case, he has an advantage. He exhibits that leverage against the the surrounded property owner. But in this case, nobody knows what's going on. And the children, the suffix, they're pretty much on an equal plane. Nobody has any leverage over the other, in which case we say that perhaps the suffix fellow should be given that advantage, because he seems to have a good claim. He says, either I get 100% because I'm Reuven's child, or I get with you in your father's nechasim, which, as we explained earlier, the name of Rashi, were more plentiful than Reuven's nechasim. So he'd like to have that. Either or. We should rearrange the arrangement. So in summation, we have a total of 4 cases involving a suffix in a Yibum context. Again, Reuven passed away. Shimon married a bit too early, and then there was a child down the road. We're not sure is he Reuven's child or Shimon's child. So it comes time for Yerusha. So in the first case we have the suffix and the Yavam, which is Shimon, fighting over the nechasim of Reuven. Suffix says, look, it belongs to me, I'm Reuven's child. Yavam says, no, you're my child. Yachlik. What if the suffix is discussing this case with the Bnei Yavam? So Shimon passed away, and now the question is, what happens to Reuven's property? Suffix says, look, I'm Reuven's son, I get it all. The Bnei Yavam say, no, you're our brother, you get 20%. So the maskan of the Gemara was, the way Rashi explained it, first, he gets 20%, because that's what they're giving him. That's uncontested. And then they make a chalik on the rest. Here comes a simple case. If the Bnei Yavam, with his suffix having a machlekes, in the nechasim of the Yavam, not the nechasim of Reuven, the nechasim of Shimon. So he says, look, maybe I'm Shimon's son, give me a part. No, they get it all because he can't prove his position. And they are Vadai, Shimon's children. Then finally we had a case where the suffix is having a disagreement with the Bnei Yavam with respect to the nechasim of Reuven, but this was already after Shimon and Levi. The suffix had their settlement. They settled. He took 50, he took 50. Now Shimon passed away, and Reuven and this suffix is here again. He says, look, I know Shimon left over lots of properties. I want to have a part in that. They say, what do you mean? You're not our brother. Oh, he says, if I'm Reuven's son, let me have that whole building back, the one that I split with your father. What do we do? Rav Abba says, come, Dina. He just hangs on to half of Reuven's property as before, no change. Rabbi Yirmi says, Hadar Dina, we can revisit it. In which case, his rights increase, and he'll be able to take back. He'll be able to take back the entire building left behind by Reuven. Either that, or allow me to split Shimon's nechasim with you. Hadar Dina. Okay, so a quick chazara. Typically, you have to wait 3 months between marriages. If this fellow was mekadesh but then took off, he was barach. It seems from Naskanas HaGemara, the halach is we don't force him to give a get because it's pretty clear that he doesn't plan on actually proceeding to the next step until the right time comes. So there was a suffix born. We're not sure whether it's a 9-month baby relating to Reuven or 7 months of Shimon. The question is, why would we even consider the possibility that he's ben Sheva? Because Rav Nashim give birth after a full term. Yeah, but Rav Nashim's pregnancy is discernible at a 3-month period. In this case, we didn't have it. So we can't follow the Rav, and it's back to the suffix. We're not sure who's his father. We spoke about a case of a suffix mamzer. Is he mutter to marry mamzeres? Machlekes Tanoim. We had a story of the Chachamim arriving to these towns, making sure that they were not left alone, even for a short while, without a wife. It's very important. The person should feel that satisfaction. And we ended with the various cases pertaining to the suffix and the other fellows with respect to Yerusha. and how to deal with them. All the best to you and much, much hatzlacha.